This episode is brought to you by Third Wave Water. So you all know me as Team Wine, duh. But during the day, my allegiances actually lie with Team Coffee. Like many of you probably understand, though, I have a bad habit of spending way too much money on takeout coffee because the coffee I make at home just never tastes as good. So sorry, Em, forget wine and milkshake facts. I have a coffee fact for you that just might blow your mind. So coffee shops spend thousands of dollars to make the perfect water for making coffee. And now for as little as 10 cents per cup, you can duplicate that magic at home. Third Wave Water has a patent-pending formula of minerals that when added to a gallon of distilled water makes coffee brewing magic. Recently, at the U.S. Brewers Cup Championship, which, hello, where can I sign up? Both the first and second place finishers brewed their coffee with Third Wave Water. Check out their website at thirdwavewater.com and use promo code WHYWEDRINK for 10% off your order. Enjoy!
For the first time in forever, we're
recording.
We're recording because it's been so fucking long.
Well, I don't know. We recorded, and I listened to the most recent episode, and you said, I'm going home in 2 weeks.
Also, keep in mind, though, we also thought that was episode 14. Like,
oh, yeah.
We really just need to actually... We always say we're going to get a calendar. Have yet to do it.
My mom gave me a calendar with corgis on it for Christmas. We should use that.
Okay. Good. That's taken care of then.
Okay, good.
Well, I'm back from the wedding.
How was the wedding?
It was all right.
Good.
No, it was better than all right.
I was like, let's cut that out.
No, it was a good time.
Congratulations to Cece and Ryan.
Cece and Ryan. They're on their honeymoon right now.
Ooh.
Must be nice.
Must be fucking nice.
Must
Where
be
are
nice. They're in...
I want to triangulate their location.
They're in St. Kitts.
Ooh, that's nice.
What did you do while I was gone? How's your last 2 weeks been?
Listen, if you don't know, I'm really cool.
She's fucking liar.
She was like, this is the last straw.
She's like, I'm out of here. How quickly he ratted you out. He was like...
He's like, this is the moment I break my silence.
This is a Geo exclusive.
Jesus Christ. All right, fine.
Okay, just reword what you said, because we're both going to react the same way.
As you may know, I'm really cool. Okay? So, as, your average cool person, I went to an NPR National Public Radio Trivia Night.
God, you're such a loser.
I know. And I'm going to tell you why I drink, actually, right now.
Did you win?
No. Fuck no.
Oh, okay.
I'm not that cool. This is why I drink.
Okay.
I met the CEO of the local NPR station here in LA.
Right.
And a guy on our team was like, oh, tell me about your podcast. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I have this podcast.
Okay.
And I told him about it. And you know what he says?
Tell me.
He goes, sorry to break it to you, but there's this podcasting bubble that you're in right now, and it's going to burst. It's like the housing bubble, but it's with podcasts, and all these companies are funneling money into podcasting, but it's never going to last. And I was like...
You know what? This guy's on NPR, by the way.
You work in public radio. What are you talking about?
Which is funny because I read a completely different article recently that said that podcasts are becoming the new TV shows. Because people aren't watching TV anymore, but they are listening to podcasts either at home or in their car.
Walking a dog, driving.
A lot of people are starting to get TV shows because of their podcast, because you can see ahead of time before you actually sign contracts with someone that they can engage with an audience.
Yeah, Lore just got a TV show. And then I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong, mister. And in, 10 years, I'm going to...
Rally the troops, podcasters.
Listen.
Assemble.
Destroy public radio.
Meanwhile, we are public radio.
I just had the worst intentions with that statement. I love public radio.
The only people I know who listen to NPR are people who are in retirement homes.
Blaze.
Okay.
Blaze got me the tickets. And he got some socks. He donates to NPR. Tell me why you drink.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to answer the question that you won't ask of what I'm drinking.
It looks like a venti.
It is a venti. Good for you. That's Gio. He's drinking water.
Just I want to tell you what I drink, not M.
Okay, I don't know if you know this, but currently the s'mores Frappuccino is back out at Starbucks.
I do, because I went there today.
It's my fucking favorite.
Is it?
Last year, I think last year was the first time the s'mores Frappuccino came out.
With the cookie straws. It was a whole thing.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. I haven't had the cookie straw. I have the green straw like normal. Actually, today I don't actually have a straw, if you can tell. That's why I stirred my Frappuccino with a knife.
She has a knife in her Frappuccino.
Yeah, I forgot to get the straw.
She goes, I'm normal. I have a green straw. And I look over and there's a knife inside her Frappuccino.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. So, basically, I've been looking forward to this all night, and I got this frap probably 2 fucking hours ago.
I think it was longer.
In between traveling here in traffic and then sitting here with you and then talking for endless hours, not only is it melted, but then I just tasted it and they put the coffee stuff in it.
The Java, whatever.
Like, I asked for the s'mores cream version because I don't like coffee flavor, and I just tasted it and it's like, oh, that's coffee.
I'm like weirdly sad about that.
Well, I just like now I have to like for the sake of the podcast, I'm gonna drink it.
I have some Halo Top.
No, it's not the same.
They're not sponsoring us.
They're not, so I'm not gonna eat it. Also, I'm drinking. The other reason is because we are finally shipping you our gifts.
We're so excited!
To the $10 donators.
We're so excited. We have a whole box right here and lots of surprises and fun stuff.
We finalized everything. Pretend it's Saturday or Sunday. Shit. When do we air these?
Sunday.
Okay. Tomorrow then.
Let me
Monday.
get my corgi calendar and we can check.
So tomorrow, Monday, we will be shipping these. Worst case scenario, Tuesday. So depending on where you live, hang on.
You should see the Excel spreadsheet. We've been putting...
Also, keep in mind, this is our first round of stuff. So, like, if you decide that you have a problem with some of the stuff that we sent you, sorry, first of all.
First of all, fuck you.
Second of all, fuck you. Third of all, the next time will go so much smoother. But this was our, like, college try at trying to send merchandise to people, and we have no fucking clue what we're doing. So
we are trying, and we're
gonna get better.
Yeah, and we really wanted everything to be like perfect. So there are a couple like misfires where we were like, not good enough. So we're trying to really make everything like primo 100%.
Every time we tell you that merch is coming, it's because merch was done, and then Christine told me 5 more people wanted something.
But also because we were like, what if we add this to the packet? What if we add this? What if we add this?
So what we're trying to tell you is we are now setting a deadline. Anyone as of right now, when you are hearing this, assuming you listen on Sunday because you're so loyal and just can't wait until this comes out, up until right now, anyone who has donated will be getting stuff in this first round of merch.
Yes.
But from now on, the deadline to get a gift box from us when you first donate will be every listener's episode.
Yes, so monthly.
So the first of every month is your deadline to sign up to get the next round of merch.
Yeah, just so that we like don't send stuff.
I can't do that. I can't do it.
Because
it's why
Emma's
I drink.
having a breakdown.
It's why I drink. Anyway, for those who would like to donate and get a gift box from us and Gio, you can find us on Patreon. And this is the $10 donators. There's also $2 and $5 donators as of right now.
Yes, there are. And we have some like new stuff we're brainstorming adding. We have a new like super secret private Facebook group that only Patreon.
If you want to talk to us personally via Facebook,
we
just kind of have to donate.
We have little debates about wine versus milkshake. You know, all the good stuff. Murder, ghosts, and my mom is on there, so that's fun for everyone. And so is Zen's mom.
Yeah, yes, she is.
So Linda and Renata are there waiting for you.
She's made her voice known already.
She's like, I'm here. Okay, so one of the things, there was this girl who messaged me. This is so random. She was listening to our podcast, and she heard me mention 2 Girls, 1 Pup.
Right.
And she messaged me, and she was like, oh my God, like, I'm friends with Monique, who is the host and, like, producer of the show. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, I was just listening to your podcast, and I, like,
That's amazing.
I heard you mention it, and I was like, wait a second. And I'm like, I'm their social media person. And she was like, what the hell?
That's amazing.
So Monique, I, like, texted Monique. She's like, oh, yeah, she's already, like, texted me about it this morning. But I was like, that is crazy. Anyway, so we've been working on the 2 Girls, 1 Pup cast, if anyone's interested.
My mother texted me and asked me what 2 Girls, 1 Pup is in reference to.
Don't.
She said, Christine said in the podcast to not ask what it means. So what does it mean?
I set everyone up for that failure. I'm sorry. That was my fault.
So happy belated Mother's Day.
Happy belated. Listen, Mother's Day's over. You can Google it now.
Yeah.
Don't blame us. So shameless plug, if you want to listen to comedians talk about their dogs, like...
2 Girls, 1 Pup?
2 Girls, 1 Pup cast.
Pupcast. Aw, that's
Get
fun.
it.
Got it. I got it.
Anyway, shameless plug. A girl named Laura messaged us from Iceland. So we
Shut
have
the fuck
I know, and I love her, and she's in Iceland. And then this happened today.
Was that all of that's just someone wrote to us from Iceland?
I just was so excited.
Okay.
She was like, hello from Iceland. And I'm like, hello.
Now we all know Christine's favorite country.
Hello,
considering
Iceland.
We get people from everywhere. Guess Iceland's the top of your
Sorry,
list.
Kazakhstan. We're going to talk about Iceland.
It's okay. Just tell me someone's from Canada and I'll lose my mind.
The next thing is someone from Canada wrote and said, oh, there is a colonial type place in Canada that you can visit.
Shut up.
I know. Mother of God, I forget her name. Because I didn't write it down, but when you said
her name, don't tell me, because then I'll hear it and it'll make something click in my brain, then I'll know I'm supposed to marry that person. You know?
Elevator music. Okay, so Sarah messaged us on Facebook and she said, hi, Christine M., Canadian listener here. This last episode has made me feel like it's my time to shine. Parentheses, also finally get the courage to message you. Cough, I'm gay. Cough.
Oh, literally, this is... Okay, here's what's about to happen.
Wow.
I knew since I was little that I'm gonna move to Canada. And I used to always joke to my mom, and I was like, maybe there's a girl in Canada that I'm just gonna, have my feet swept off of.
Poor Sarah. She's like, wait.
Sarah, I've already arranged our wedding, so good luck.
She's like, this is not what I intended.
Good luck dealing with all of this.
She says, this does seem like the girl for you. She goes, I'd like to inform you that if you're in the mood for some colonial-ass scenery...
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I would suggest the Old Port in Montreal, Quebec. It's got all the fun of a big city with coffee shops and art centers. My personal favorite with a U. Mm-hmm. A little place
that is Canadian.
that only sells wooden dildos. Whoa. She goes, I don't know. The concept is just so funny to me.
That got very X-rated very quick, and I'm into it.
You guys are going to have fun. I'm sorry, Sarah.
Holy crap.
We're putting a lot of pressure on you. I'm sorry. I took it too far. I'm sorry. She just thinks it's funny, that's all.
Oh my God, I'm sweating. That was so funny.
And so do you, and then I just made it really weird. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was, I mean, no matter who said it, anyone could come up to me and be like, I know a place with dildos on the wall, and I'd be like, let's talk more about that, because it's very interesting.
It's very interesting.
That is something I would be curious to see.
Who makes handmade wooden... Okay, anyway, let's not go on that tangent.
I think of an old grandpa on the porch just whittling dildos.
In a colonial type house.
Oh yeah. So that's what the Pilgrims did. So.
I know. That's probably why.
Actually, do you think that's what they had to do?
I think that's probably...
They didn't have silicone.
That's why you want to go back, probably. You're like, I miss those good old days with the wooden dildos.
Oh yeah. But then my dumb ass would have probably sword fought with them or
whatever
something.
They had in Egypt, that's what I miss.
The pyramids. Dildos made the pyramids.
Mom, I'm sorry, Mom.
Very regal.
Oh my, okay. Anyway. All right, she says, but then there are also gorgeous buildings, cobblestone, huge cathedral, blah, blah, blah.
I love a good cobblestone.
I love cobblestone.
I love a good cobblestone.
Me too. Anyway, she says, I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you so much. Blah, blah, blah. It's my favorite thing to listen to. Stay spooky. I love her very, very much. Thank you.
Perfect.
I love you, Sarah.
All right, well, Christine, that's where I'm having my wedding.
All right, that is...
Cobblestone, Canada is what I've decided that place is called.
With the wooden dildos.
Home of the wooden dildo.
Anyway, so that'll be fun for you. I'm excited for your wedding. And Sarah, I'm sorry if we've pressured you into an uncomfortable...
Sarah slowly went to the volume dial and just lowered it just bit by bit until she couldn't hear us anymore.
Locked every door in her apartment. Tell me a ghost story.
Okay. We're all going to learn something tonight, including me, because I wrote this story and I wrote these notes 2 weeks ago, and I haven't reviewed.
We are going on an adventure together.
So let's hope I did all of the notes in the right order and didn't just scramble them. At the time I wrote this, I'm sure I was ready to report on it, and so I didn't care where things were. So I'm sorry. I'm so scared. I feel like a kid that's about to give a presentation that he has no idea about.
A book report on a book you did not read.
Yeah, or a book report on a book I read way too long ago and don't even remember the main character's name. So
good luck. Godspeed.
Buckle up, everyone. And good luck to Christine in the future for editing this garbage.
Good luck to me.
Okay, so this is called, apparently, the Lemp Mansion.
What?
In St. Louis, Missouri.
Ah, I like St. Louis.
Good for you. I don't think I've ever been to Missouri. But Missouri. Now I've got a reason to go. So this mansion, the Lemp Mansion, is one of the top 10 most haunted places in America.
Are you serious? I feel like every one you say is the top 10.
I think so too, but when you think about the fact that we've only done like 16 episodes, I think I'm just burning through them really.
You can be like, this is the top 300 most haunted places.
By episode 20, I'll be like, look, I've already done the most haunted places. I don't know what you want me to fucking do.
We're done here.
All of a sudden, like, my stories won't be that great. So let's enjoy it while we can. This was the home to several millionaires, and then it became an office space, and then a boarding house, and is currently a dinner theater, restaurant, and bed and breakfast.
What on earth?
I don't know either, Christine.
What the hell?
Okay, so that's what we know so far. Here's the history. By the way, this is exactly how I gave book reports in school, too.
You're like, I don't know either.
I was such a shit student in school. Like, before college, I did not give a shit about school at all, and every book report was like, listen, we're all about to go on a ride together. Like, I have no clue what's going to happen.
My imagination will take us away.
Okay, so in 1838, I think it's Johann?
It's definitely not Johann.
Okay, so Johann. His middle name is Adam, so we'll go with Adam. In 1838...
Oh, okay. Johann is not that weird.
Okay.
Right?
Maybe. Okay, whatever. In 1838... Johann Lemp moved to St. Louis from Eswig, Germany. I was right.
Who would have guessed Johann came from Germany?
Again, me in school reading my own notes being like, hey, did anyone else know this?
You guys, I figured it out. I'm so smart.
I like crack my own codes. Okay, so Johann, in 1838, he moved to St. Louis and he built a grocery store which sold household items, groceries, and homemade beer.
Oh my god, he sounds cool.
Which was lighter lager than the darker beers, which were more common during the time. I'm now slowly remembering this story because I intentionally did this in your honor.
I appreciate
Apparently,
that.
I think this whole thing is about beer.
I love beer.
I mean, it's just another reason to drink.
Thank you.
It's at least another thing to drink.
I'm actually super excited.
I remember now it's all coming back because I was like, Christine's going to lose her mind over this.
You're just flashing like images of beer.
Yeah, all of a sudden I'm seeing different beers. Different Germans with different beer.
There's like Johann.
There's Christine's mom in the back.
There's Crazy Carl the neighbor and they all have beer.
So, okay, so he made this homemade beer. It was lighter than any other lager that America had seen so far. And his light lager recipe, which was passed down from his dad, was so good that 2 years later, he was able to sell the grocery store and build his own brewery.
Shit.
Which, if you live in St. Louis now, the brewery is near the current Gateway Arch.
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
Well, the arch, the big famous arch.
It's not famous enough for me to know.
Are you serious? Here's the arch. It's incredibly famous.
I probably have seen... Oh, I've seen that thing.
Okay, sorry.
I didn't know that was in Missouri.
I know, it's weird because St. Louis doesn't... Like, Missouri seems like such like a southern nowhere state, but St. Louis is like a really big city. But yeah.
Okay. And that brewery, for people who currently live in St. Louis, is it's at the Gateway Arch.
Nice.
Which Christine just showed me a picture of, so I'm now in the know of what that looks like.
You're welcome, Emily.
Okay, so his lager was the first lager ever in St. Louis.
Interesting.
And when Johann Lemp needed to expand his business, he found a limestone cave in the area.
What?
Because those are just floating around.
Listen, Em, we need to expand our podcast business. Do you know any limestone caves?
Not in LA. I think they've carved through every single one of them. He found a limestone cave which was able to keep cool he kept it cool by chopping and storing ice from the Mississippi River in it.
What the fuck?
What an innovative man. So he... I'm learning this as I'm reading it, by the way. So I did not remember that fact.
This is quite a journey.
So I guess because he was expanding his business, he needed to find a place that had the right conditions for his lager process.
And so
he found a cave where it's always kind of cool, and then he was able to keep ice in there from the river.
Holy shit.
I know.
What year was this?
In 1940s.
Wow.
1840s.
Okay,
1840s.
I was like, that seems really late. Didn't they have refrigerators?
Okay. He was a traditionalist.
Got it.
So in the 1850s, it was now called the Lemp's Western Brewing Co. Beneath. I wrote co. Like short for company.
Co.
Penny.
been a terrible student.
By the way, fun fact, who knew I'd be doing like basically a history podcast every week? Because I definitely got a fucking D in history in school. Okay, by the 1850s, Lemp's Western Brewing Company was the largest company in the city. Adam Lemp died in 1862, though.
Oh, no.
So 12 years later, and his son William took over and began expanding the brewery, eventually covering 5 city blocks.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Imagine a brewery that's 5 blocks long.
That's huge.
Holy crap. And that's also, I think, yeah, 5 city blocks. Wow. Okay, so...
I'm picturing you standing in front of like...
Just imagine me like 10 years younger and never being prepared at school.
Like just in a classroom being like, oh wow, that's interesting.
Imagine my hair a total fucking mess because I didn't discover hats yet, and then my backpack like barely hanging on for dear life, and me ready to go home because that's how I looked all the time.
You being impressed by your own notes.
Big, interesting.
Wow, you guys, it's so cool.
I'm really good at this like reporting thing. So by the 1870s, the Lemps controlled the entire St. Louis beer market and continued to do so until the Prohibition.
Oh, that sucks.
Whoops.
Womp womp.
In 1868, William Lemp's father-in-law, Jacob, built a house near the brewery, which Lemp ended up purchasing and began renovating for himself. And but it ended up turning into a 33-room Victorian mansion.
Holy crap.
With like all the money that they had, and he was renovating it left and right. 33-room Victorian mansion.
That's huge.
From the mansion, there was a tunnel that was built from the basement to the brewery through the town's underground caves. What? Where are all these caves coming from?
What the fuck? What is it with these old people and all their like underground tunnels?
To be honest, though, if I could afford a mansion, I would for sure put a tunnel system under the ground.
Valid. To my house, right? Like, we'd just have a tunnel.
Yeah, though you could just let Gio out under the stairs and he could just run to and from.
He would pee all over that tunnel.
He's so handsome. I love him so much. Okay. Anyway, back to the story.
So what happened next?
Okay. So, that was in 1868 that they built... the father-in-law bought the house, and then over time, it became a mansion. And then the tunnels were all throughout the town, which is so cool to me.
That's so cool.
Once refrigeration was invented... Can you imagine beer being invented before refrigerators? That's ridiculous.
Beer was invented in Germany in the... either 12 or 1600s. Maybe 1600s.
That sounds like a German thing to do. Once the refrigeration process was invented, parts of the cave were no longer needed and were renovated into a theater and auditorium.
Oh.
Underground. That's got to be a cool first date.
Holy...
Oh. What were you thinking?
I don't know. I was like, that's cool, but yeah.
My first thought was like, I could totally woo the shit out of a girl with that.
Oh my god.
Let me take you underground.
Blaze already missed that opportunity, so...
Perfect.
It's fine.
Once it became a... So parts of it were a theater and auditorium, and they would later also... Oh my god, I spoke too soon. Okay, we're on a date. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this moment.
So has my mother. So, okay, I'm going to take you into some caves, which is not shady at all.
That's so cool.
But I promise you, on the way, we'll find a movie theater and an auditorium. We will also find there a heated pool and bowling alley.
Shut the fuck up.
With access via spiral staircase up to the city streets.
Shut the fuck up.
Where we can look at the stars together and you can fall in love with me. I know.
Bowling, heated swimming pool, beer in a cave.
Yeah. And a movie theater. I wonder if they were near each other so you could watch the movie in the pool. Like a drive-in, but a swim-in.
I just feel like St. Louis is for lovers.
By the middle 1890s, the Lemp Brewery created and introduced Falstaff beer. Do you know what that is? Because I don't drink.
Can you spell it?
Falstaff.
No.
All right. Well, there was something called Falstaff beer back then. And the Lemp Brewery created and introduced Falstaff beer, making him famous nationwide. So I guess that was the first one that they could distribute to everyone. The Lemp Western Brewery was the first brewery to establish coast-to-coast distribution.
Shit.
I promise ghosts are involved somewhere in this. It's not like me just telling you about beer.
This is like stuff you missed in history class.
Yeah. So William also helped fund the beginning of Pabst and Anheuser-Busch.
Shit.
They were both his friends.
Like, oh, that's casual.
It's kind of like how you and I were like, hey, we're friends, let's start a podcast. Except him and his friends were like, let's each start the world's biggest beer company.
And make millions of dollars. And we were like, let's spend $500 and talk into microphones.
I know. So it's still ran by William Lemp, who was Johann.
Still today?
No, at this point. Calm down. I'm like, a skeleton owns
200
this.
years old?
So,
Jesus Christ, I'm sorry.
Okay, so now the grandson is going to come into the picture, and he's going to take over. So Frederick Lemp, who was William's son, actually died in 1901, and it was his favorite son. He had like 10 kids, and this was the only one he actually liked.
That's sad.
And he died at 28 of heart failure in 1901. Oh, I should also say his son died in the house.
Oh.
In this like giant mansion. So he was the first death in that 33-room mansion.
Okay.
Afterwards, his father, William, was never the same and was rarely seen in public after his son's death.
That's so sad.
3 years later, William's closest friend, Frederick Pabst,
Hey.
he also died. Leaving William indifferent to the details of running the brewery. So basically he was like, I don't even give a shit about this business anymore. My only favorite son and my favorite friend all died within like 3 years of each other. So a month later, in 1904, he shot himself.
What? Are you serious?
In the house.
Wait, and he had 9 remaining kids, and he's like,
he didn't care about
I
them.
don't care. What? Okay.
Maybe back then you had to pick one that you wanted to keep like alive for as long as possible.
It's like if you accidentally got too many of those gigapets, and you were like, I only care about.
Right.
You only have time for one.
I get that back then it's really because there wasn't birth control around, but I'm going to say that they had so many kids at the time because one of them needed to make it to adulthood.
Right.
I'm pretending this is like the 1600s, but
yeah, I was going to say, I mean,
I don't know how 1904 worked, so
probably just like that.
So another son of William's, who he did not care about,
obviously,
William Jr., who I guess people called Will, him and his wife Lillian, so Will and Lil, that's cute.
That's cute. It sounds like
Rugrats, yeah. Will and Lil DeVille. So Will who's the grandson at this point. Mm-hmm. His wife and 4-year-old son, William III, all inherited the company and began spending all of the money that the family could possibly have on servants and carriages and clothing and art and just traveling. And
oh, no.
So they just really just hemorrhaged through all that money.
Oh, no.
Okay, so Will Jr. and his wife, Lillian, became known as the Lavender Lady because of her fondness for the color, attire, accessories, and even her horse carriage. They all were dyed lavender.
That's weird.
You really gotta love lavender.
That's really random.
In the beginning, Will enjoyed showing off his, quote, trophy wife, but by the end he was way to go, past M, with your good note-taking.
Uh-oh.
In the beginning, Will enjoyed showing off his, quote, trophy wife, but by the end, homeboy was a total fuckboy. Also how I wrote in high school, by the way.
Do you know that you left, I'm sure, the exact same way when you wrote that note? As you did just now.
Oh, yeah. I probably wrote that and I was like, I'm hysterical.
You're like...
And then I probably said, future me will think it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
And I just proved that right.
You, like, patted yourself on the back in the Starbucks you were in.
Oh, yeah. When Will began sleeping... So fuckboy Will is what we're going to start calling him.
God, he sucks.
When fuckboy Will began sleeping with other women and tried to keep Lillian, a.k.a. Lavender Lady, when he tried to keep her busy and away from the house... I remember this fact, as I'm going to tell you, because you're going to kind of wish you were getting screwed over by Will the fuckboy.
Your eyes lit up.
Yeah, you ready? Tell me you kind of wouldn't mind being married to fuckboy Will.
I already want it.
When Will began sleeping with other women and tried to keep Lillian busy and away from the house, he would give her $1,000, which, by the way, thankfully I did this. The currency today is $27,000.
Are you kidding me?
He gave her that a day and demanded that if she didn't spend it, he would leave her.
I would have the best time.
I would have so much fun.
The best
time. Don't come home until you've spent $27,000 and then do it again tomorrow.
That is precisely what I make in a year.
How much?
By the way,
I make less than that.
I do, but shh. Oh no, this got dark.
Okay, but how do you... I don't even know how to fathom a life where you have so much money that $27,000 is like giving someone $27.
It's like, go spend this money.
That's like giving someone like meal money for an hour.
Being like, go buy some ice cream.
Yeah, no wonder she dyed her horse carriages lavender.
Like, what else are you gonna do?
So anyway, that's what she was up to while he was sleeping around. When not at the brewery, he would hold lavish... I feel like maybe I was fuckboy Will in the past. When not
in a past life.
When not working at the brewery, he would hold lavish parties in the cave pool.
Oh, yeah.
Below the mansion with his friends and all of St. Louis's prostitutes.
He was like the original Playboy.
Yeah, he was
like Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, he was Hugh Hefner before Hugh Hefner.
Underground.
Ooh.
Oh, hipster.
Hipster Hugh.
Hipster Hugh.
Eventually, Will got one of his sex workers pregnant. Typical. And to this day, there is no official documentation that this son ever existed. I remember something really shitty coming up after this.
Oh, no.
We'll find out together if that's true.
All right, we can hold hands if you want.
Aww.
Get through it together.
My mother's like, hold her fucking hand, hold her hand. Eventually Will got one of the sex workers pregnant. There's no official documentation that the son ever existed. However, there are rumors that this boy was, I was right, hidden in the mansion attic and the servants' quarters for his entire life. And this story has been confirmed by former nannies and chauffeurs who worked at the mansion during this time. It gets worse. I remember it getting worse.
Oh, no.
I remember reading the notes and going, no. I haven't done that yet, which means it's gonna get bad.
Oh, no.
I was right. Okay. He was apparently hidden from society because he was born with Down syndrome.
Baby.
And was considered, quote, a total embarrassment to the family. And he was hidden to hide the Lemp's shame. That's that. Oh, here's the part where I gasped, because he was known as the monkey face boy. I'm sorry.
I'm losing my goddamn mind.
I'm sorry. I just wrote the note. I should have maybe just not written it. Anyway, there's the full information for people.
Your grade is dropping as we speak.
You know what? I'm only here for accuracy. And I'm sorry. So he was known as Monkey Face Boy and was hidden his whole life. In 1908, Will filed for divorce, and it became a major St. Louis scandal and front page coverage in every newspaper, and crowds were surrounding the courthouse during each session.
Can you imagine if a fucking divorce was a big deal nowadays?
Well, first of all, yeah, because the town was so small, but they were also the richest people on Earth probably at this time.
Yeah, but now it's like, it's a blip on the news radar. It's not like we're gonna gather around the divorce court.
When Kim Kardashian broke up with Chris Humphries, I remember every detail of that story.
Yeah, but it's not as exciting as other shit, like her sex tape and shit like that.
True.
That gets more.
But if tape existed back then and they had a sex tape of Fuckboy Will, that's
what I'm saying. That would have blown their fucking minds.
That's true. But also imagine how bored you must be in 1908.
Totally.
So obviously everything's going to be a big deal.
This is the greatest thing that ever happened.
Okay, so because of a photograph that was sex tape. Because of a photograph that was presented at the trial. Oh, no, it's not.
Oh. You predicted your own notes falsely. Incorrectly.
Why I got a D in history, by the way.
Jesus.
In 1908, Will filed for divorce. We know that. Because of a photograph that was presented at the trial of Lillian smoking a cigarette, she almost lost custody of William III.
Because she was... What?
Because... she was considered unfit for custody because of, quote, Victorian female infractions, such as cussing, smoking, and wanting public attention. And they assumed she wanted public attention because everything she did was lavender. So they were like, okay.
I mean, think about fucking Mad Men when they were all pregnant and smoking and drinking and it was cool and casual.
Yeah.
Just so weird.
Anyway, she was written up for Victorian female infractions and they thought she couldn't take care of her son.
Victorian female
infractions. I also wrote, fun fact, although Lillian always wore lavender, the only day on record that she did not wear lavender was the day of her divorce, where she wore all black. And then I want to prove to you that I actually wrote in caps, #petty.
I like how you think you have to prove to me that you wrote as if I'm not going to believe you.
In 2017, I guess I'm just more equipped to write a tweet, and so I just hashtag my own notes.
Every line of your notes are 140 characters or less.
Yeah, and 3 emojis.
And have hashtags.
Not only... okay, so the divorce is going on with Will and his wife, but 2 years earlier, Will's mother also died in the house.
Oh, no.
So that makes 4 deaths now.
Sure.
And 9 of the breweries in the area merged and formed into independent breweries, an independent breweries company, which was the first real competition that Lemp ever had to deal with. So slowly the brewery began to decline and World War I happened.
Oh.
So the business like barely was even there. By 1915, he built a country home and married again, but this time to a girl named Ellie, who was the daughter of another brewer. So everyone's just like beer merging. 4 years later, the Prohibition came and Lemp lost all of his business. And without telling his workers, he literally just locked the doors of the company and walked away.
What?
Like, they had to show up that day at work to find out that they just didn't have jobs anymore.
Oh, my God.
Will's sister also lost all of her money, and so she committed suicide in the same house with the same gun that their father killed themselves in a couple years earlier.
Thank God for therapy.
So that makes 6 people dead now, or 5 people dead
I think
in
that's
the same
5,
house.
Yeah.
When Will heard she shot herself, he replied, "That's the Lemp family for you."
Okay.
Because everyone's killing themselves. Everyone's killing themselves with the same gun, by the way.
It's just like the in thing to do.
By age 42, Will also fell into a depression and shot himself in the same building that his father shot himself in 18 years earlier.
He was only 42?
With the same gun.
Oh, my God.
So 3 guns killing 3 Lemps.
1 gun killing 3.
Yes,
right?
you're right and I'm wrong. At the time,
what else is new?
At the time, because I guess from like after like an estate sale and everything, they sold everything and found out his net worth, even though he was bankrupt. If they like sold all of his belongings,
sure,
his personal assets came out to $10 million then.
Holy
which
crap.
Is $180 million now.
Holy crap.
So William's brother Charles eventually remodeled the mansion from office space back into a residence and lived in the house until Monkey Boy died.
That is just...
I know.
He didn't even have a name?
Literally, there's no name on record.
That makes me want to scream.
Remember, there's no official documentation that he ever existed.
That's disgusting.
So he also died, which makes, I think, 6 or 7 people in that house now. And he was buried... That's fucked up. He was buried in a field outside of the family graveyard with a small flat marker that only had his last name on it. So it just said Lemp. In 1949, Charles became the 4th member of the Lemp family to commit suicide with the same gun in the same house.
Holy shit.
But not before going to the basement of... I'm sorry. But not before going to the basement mansion and shooting his dog.
What is wrong with these people?
It gets worse. Though he was shot... The dog was shot in the basement. He was found halfway up the stairs.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
Why? Is there more? I'm gonna kill you in 5 seconds. Plug Gio's fucking ears.
I am. I'm rubbing them right now. He's so handsome. He's so handsome.
I don't like it. What happened?
Okay, so that's how that dog died. And so that makes, I think 7 or 8 now. Somewhere in that zone, people are dead left and right. And they're all from the same gun in the same house. Will's youngest brother, Edwin, however, when he moved out of the house at 18 and decided to work in real estate away from the beer company.
Smart boy.
He rarely spoke with his family, and by 1970, Edwin had lived a long and happy life in his rural country estate, only to die at 90 due to natural causes. So
Edwin is the bomb.
Edwin is that guy in every movie that's like, we got to get the fuck out of here before a vampire or a ghost or an alien comes and gets us.
Edwin's like, I don't know what's wrong with all y'all, but I'm out of here.
After the death of Charles Lemp, the one that shot the dog, R.I.P.
Fuck you, Charles.
The mansion was sold and turned into a boarding house. Residents complained often. Here are the ghosts, finally. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Everyone needed to... Well, Christine needed to know about the history of beer, honestly. And
I had a lot of...
The rest is for you guys.
A lot of questions.
After the death of Charles Lemp, the mansion was sold and turned into a boarding house. Residents complained of ghostly knocks and phantom footsteps throughout the house, making it harder over time to keep tenants, making the building regularly vacant. Because the building was so regularly vacant, it started deteriorating too, which meant it was even harder to upkeep and was just generally looking creepier. And the mansion was purchased and renovated by a man named Dick Pointer. I guess if we're trying to make it sound more like a name, it's Dick Pointer.
I like Dick Pointer.
Yeah, but he's for sure a dick pointer.
He's 1,000%. He was born into it.
In William Lemp Sr., so fuckboy Will, in his room, guests have reported hearing someone running up the stairs and kicking down the door. And that's because when his father tried to kill himself, Will was said to have ran up the stairs when he heard the gunshot. And when he found the door locked, he started kicking it in.
Can you imagine those sleeping and hearing the door getting kicked down?
Oh, And my God, yeah. That would be terrifying.
Ooh.
And then several years ago, a part-time tour guide reported hearing the sounds of horses outside the parking lot, which is where the horses used to get tethered up.
Oh.
And ever since then, other people will often hear horses and neighing and like horse sounds.
Horse sounds.
Gross.
Aren't you from the South?
Well, I was going to say like horse grunts, and then I knew you were going to be like, what's a horse grunt? And then I was going to have to reenact it.
You're going to have to start grunting.
So I just said horse sounds.
Okay.
There's also been slamming doors and screaming to get out of the property from like either behind you when you're standing or even from inside the walls. So like if you feel like you're safe because like the wall's against you, people will scream through the walls to get out.
No, that's awful.
People have been shoved across rooms and into certain areas of the room that were like popular areas from like certain people living there. So like they would push you away from the places that they liked sitting.
Oh, I got you.
So like in the part that used to be an office, they would shove you away so you couldn't be near them.
Get out of my space.
Yeah. Many people have also heard crying upstairs from all the babies that have been raised there.
Oh, no.
And the drawers of the dresser that belong to the Lemps will open and close on their own in front of you.
Oh,
It's
no.
not even when you're turned around and you come back. It's like in your face they will do it.
Yikes.
And the current owner once watched a candle light itself.
What the fuck?
Fuck that is what I'd say to that. People on the street have seen a little boy with Down syndrome peeking out of the window in the attic.
Stop it.
And one woman came barging in thinking a child was locked upstairs, and when she forced the homeowner to go up to the attic with her, nobody was there.
I'm going to cry.
And then another woman also barged into the house because she saw a little boy with Down syndrome crying and banging on the window like he was stuck.
Emma.
Paranormal investigators have left toys in the attic bedroom in a marked spot, and the toy is always found in another part of the room. And many people can hear him crying upstairs. And there have been some reports of people hearing a little boy upstairs saying, "Don't leave."
That's
as if like he's always by himself, and when people finally go see him, he doesn't want them to leave.
That's when I wish ghosts weren't at all real, because I'm like, this is just, I want him to go be happy.
Another paranormal investigator felt something tugging on his hair in the attic hallway just outside the boy's room in a way that suggested, like, pay attention to me. And a lot of women will feel like a hand grab their arm.
Just makes me really sad.
Wait, it gets worse. In the basement, you can hear panting from a dog walking up and down the stairs, and a chain dragging around.
Wait, why can't these little love bugs just move on and be happy in their new lives? Why are they still stuck there?
Well, there's also a white apparition of an older gentleman with a 2-inch beard in the sitting room.
I'm sorry, did someone measure it? What is a 2-inch beard?
A 2-inch beard, isn't that just like a normal beard?
I don't know.
Like a little too long?
2-inch beard, that's really specific.
I agree with you. A strong scent of lavender has been noticed, which sometimes permeates the furniture. So, like, you'll sit on and then it'll, like, seep out of the furniture.
Ugh.
In the woman's bathroom, women complain of a figure of a peeping Tom watching them through and over the stalls.
Ew!
And when they later looked back, they found out that was fuckboy Will's bathroom. So he's, like, creeping on girls while they're in the bathroom.
Fuck you.
Fun fact, this bathroom also held the first freestanding shower in St. Louis.
What?
I just wrote it, so I'm saying it. A shadow has been slipping. Oh, shit. A shadow has been seen slipping through the crack in the bathroom door. Yikes.
Yuck.
And the locked door to this room has been found standing wide open on several reports.
So what is this? What is it now?
Now it's a bathroom, but it used to be his bathroom, like his personal bathroom.
What is, like, the building now?
It's like a bed and breakfast and a restaurant.
It's like a boarding house type place. Okay.
And so a lot of girls see peeping Toms looking at them when they're...
Fucking fabulous.
The piano on the first floor plays ragtime music when nobody's on that floor, especially when everyone's falling asleep.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
And drinks have been known to stir themselves. That's Christine in the afterlife.
I would for sure just stir everyone's drinks.
Well, get this, because the glasses at the bar not only move, but they will take flight and break by themselves. So, like, you can see as if someone's throwing glasses on the ground. It'll throw itself on the ground.
Okay. I'd like to think I'm not that aggressive in my afterlife, but...
In Will's old office, a male visitor was pushed out of the door of the room by something that he couldn't see, but he was shoved out.
Oh, God.
The paintings of people on the walls follow you around as you move.
You mean like their eyes?
Yeah, like it'll look like they're always staring at you.
I meant the paintings like follow
It's not
you.
Harry Potter. They're just good.
I was like, holy shit. It's not like a Scooby-Doo.
A full apparition of a man sits at a table before the restaurant opens.
I don't like that.
And when asked what he's doing there, he'll just vanish before he even turns around to talk to you.
Oh, no, I don't like that.
People who stay overnight sense an angry, silent, shadowy figure who's like pacing back and forth in front of the sealed tunnel. So I guess the tunnels are sealed now. But he can feel things walking back and forth as if it's trying to get into the tunnels.
Ugh.
White, misty apparitions float around. Back then, eating in a basement was unheard of. So the fact that people eat on the floor now, like eat on that floor,
yeah,
like pisses the ghosts off, because at the time it was, to them, it's a basement. And they're like, how dare you be so rude to eat in a basement? So the tablecloths have been silently torn off the tables, and the tables will like move on their own. And when people have their backs to them, silverware will also disappear and reappear in the kitchen or upstairs where the old dining room used to be.
They're like, this doesn't belong
That's
here.
my petty ass mom in the afterlife being, I'll put the silverware where you should eat.
100%.
I'll just let you find it and then you can eat there.
The fork goes on the left, the knife goes on the right.
Often you can hear people having a party under the floor where the entrance to the cave used to be.
Oh, that's fun.
And in the bar and near the cave entrance, you can smell lager.
Oh.
People have sensed being stared at so oppressively that there was a burning sensation on their skin, and one investigator stayed away and came out with blisters.
Oh my god.
Not stayed away, stayed anyway. I fucking read that wrong.
But, I was like, that sucks.
But he listened.
He tried.
But he stayed regardless of the burning sensation and came out of the caves, or out of the room with blisters all over him. Guests and staff have heard Monkey Boy say, come play with me. Investigators have also asked how any of the Lemp family members died, and on multiple occasions, EVPs have picked up the word bang, like shotgun. And investigators have asked where Johann learned how to make beer, and an EVP picked up Vater, which is father in German, I guess.
Yes, Vater.
And that is where he got his recipe. So those are
creepy.
I'm sorry for like blowing through those, but that history took so long.
Holy crap! These people have problems.
I'm so sorry for how long that was.
No.
I'm so sorry for what you're gonna have to go through.
Stop it.
You want to tell me about a murder before you hate yourself?
I don't. No, don't be silly.
I regularly, by the way, get texts from Christine in the middle of the night being like, we have to have an hour of footage, and I'm literally weeding through 2.5 hours of us talking. How am I going to break it down to such a small amount?
It's regularly the average has been 2 hours 40 minutes that we've.
God,
I know.
If they're ever too long, it's because we ramble way too much.
And if it's ever too long, know that it was originally 3 times as long. So be thankful. All right, listen. So I feel bad because someone requested this story a couple of days ago, and I 1,000% can't remember who requested it. And I tried to find it on Facebook, Twitter, email, and this is why I get so lost, because I'm like, we have all these fucking Twitter messages, and I tried to dig for it, and I'm sorry, whoever you are. If you tell me who you are, I'll mention you next episode. But this is the story of Christine and Leah Papin. So this is actually the first episode of My Favorite Murder that I ever listened to. They did this.
Ooh.
And I was like, wow, this is fucking crazy. And it seemed like when I researched it, there was a lot more that I found than what they talked about, but like they did kind of like a good overview of it.
Okay.
So I was like, I want to
get into the details.
Get into it. So
I just told you all about the history of Missouri beer, so by all means, I don't get to talk.
So here's the tagline for the story that I wrote.
Okay.
Lesbians, incest, murder. Let's go.
Let's! Oh, that sounds so interesting. That sounds like my favorite type of Law and Order SVU episode.
Yep. That show is gnarly.
If you can get like the most fucked up scenario and Elliot Stabler in one episode, you're golden.
Elliot Stabler is
God bless
my golden boy.
Can I say something really quick since we're already on a tangent?
Absolutely.
Speaking of Elliot Stabler, because he's in that new movie Snatched.
Uh-huh.
My mom and I drove cross country out to LA, she was like, wouldn't it be cool if one day, the next time I see you, like a year from now, you're going to be making a movie about a mom named Linda and a daughter named Emily going on an adventure together? And then literally the first movie job I ever got at my company was working on this goddamn movie about a mother named Linda and a daughter named Emily going on an adventure together. And then lo and behold, a year passes and it was Mother's Day weekend. And we went to go see Snatch together. And I was like, this was the first movie I ever worked on.
The front door.
I was like, are you God? I was like, how did you do this?
Crazy.
Like, it's so much detail.
It's a little creepy because it really does feed right into the story.
I'm glad I segued right in for you.
Thank you. The way that I set it up, it's a little weird that that's exactly where this went. Okay. So anyway, so I got a lot of this. I just want to give like a shout out to Jessica Mason from crimemagazine.com because she wrote like a really comprehensive article and it was awesome and I got a lot of information from it. So I want to give her the credit. So let's see. Christine and Leah were two sisters born in Lemp Mansion in France in the early 1900s. Mm-hmm. So they had an older sister named Amelia who became a nun, but she does not matter in the story except that
well, she was saved by God very quickly.
She had to be.
She was like, I'm out of here.
She was a smart gal. But the reason that I find that notable is because if Christine and Amelia had been close instead of Christine and Leah, it would have been Christine and Em.
Interesting.
And maybe this whole bullshit story would never have happened.
Probably.
The way that it did.
Probably, to be honest.
So anyway, these three gals had a terribly, terribly shitty childhood. Even in 1900s standards. Their dad was an abusive alcoholic standard. Their mom...
Typical childhood.
Their mom was just the fucking worst. She was forced to marry their dad only because she was pregnant. After Christine was born, she decided she couldn't handle having two kids, so she sent them off to live with her sister-in-law. When her third child, Leah, was born, she found out that her husband had raped their oldest daughter, Amelia.
Oh, no.
Which I don't blame fucking Amelia for becoming a fucking nun after that.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
So the mom divorced the father, but not because she was mad that he had raped her daughter, but because he had been unfaithful to her.
Oh, my God.
And she was convinced that her daughter, Amelia, had seduced him.
Cry me a fucking river.
10 years old.
Ugh!
So she sent her to an orphanage, like a really strict Catholic orphanage, which, again, she became a nun. And then she moved Christine there as well. She's like, why the fuck not?
It's times like those where I don't blame certain people growing up to, like, murder their parents.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I get it.
It's like that last one with Gypsy Rose. It's like...
It's like, is killing her, like, really the worst thing you could have done?
You get to a point where it's like you can't survive any other way. Anyway. So then she sent the youngest daughter, who was a toddler, to live with her great uncle. So she got rid of all of them. She's like, I can't deal with this. So Amelia and Christine... a.k.a. Em and Christine.
Mm-hmm, obviously.
Grew really close in the orphanage, and they were very, very fond of each other.
Oh.
No,
How fond?
No, not like that.
Like...
It's sad.
Like friend fond?
Like, they were sisters. They were, like, best...
Oh, they were sisters, right. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. You said it. You said lesbians and incest, so...
All right, well, fair.
I don't know what's coming.
You're right. I did kind of, like, ruin the surprise there.
I was like, how close is Christine and Em getting in this world?
That's what I'm saying. These two would have been a perfect pair, but...
Oh, yeah.
Shit got fucked up.
Oh.
So Amelia and Christine got really close in the orphanage that they both lived in. And then Amelia decided to be a nun, so Christine was like, me too. Which sounds like the story of our lives, really. Like, if you think about it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least 900%.
Yeah. Like, you becoming a nun and me being like, you know what? Me too. But their mom was planning on depending on them for income when they grew old enough to work. So she was like...
why shouldn't she? She's mother of the fucking year.
Yeah, hello, support your mother. So she was pissed at Amelia to begin with for wanting to become a nun. So then she forbade Christine from becoming a nun, too. So, like, Amelia was, like, already in the process, and then she's like, Christine, no, you're not allowed to do that.
Aww.
So you got to be a fucking nun, and I...
Thank you, Jesus.
You were saved by the Lord.
Amen.
I was left behind in the rapture. Okay. So instead, she forced Christine to start working as a maid. As soon as Leah, the youngest sister, grew old enough, she joined Christine, and so the two of them as sisters started working together as maids. You don't know the story, right?
I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
It's so much fun when I tell you stories you don't know. So in 1926, Christine was 22, and she moved into the home of Monsieur René Lancelot. Jesus Lord.
Your dialect's really good.
It's not good.
It sounded good.
Oh, well, thanks. Sorry, everyone in France. So she started working as a live-in maid. So the family consisted of him, this retired lawyer, his wife, and their 27-year-old daughter. After a few months, they decided to hire her younger sister, Leah, as well. So they both moved in, and they started working as maids for the family. Christine was the cook, and Leah was the chambermaid. So they would work these 12 to 14-hour days. They were only allowed a half day off per week to attend church, which they did. Sometimes they would visit a neighborhood medium, which is like a super random...
Sounds like something you and I would do.
I know, except for the church part. Christine later said... this is weird. Christine later said she thought she was her sister's husband in another life.
I mean, the lesbian incest thing is just becoming more and more true in my mind.
I'm just like, I already put your brain in that place.
Yeah.
So any other free moment they had, they would spend in their tiny room on the 3rd floor. It was like the servants' quarters. They barely had any contact with the outside world. They didn't have friends, recreational activities, nothing. They were just always at home or working. But other families, like other bougie families, got jealous because their maids were, and I call them maids because that was the term back then,
right.
Were, fraternizing with other people in the neighborhood and flirting with boys and going to dances. But these girls were always working and always at home or at church. So the family enjoyed them enough to have a decent relationship. They didn't have the worst experience as far as being a maid in the early 1900s. So apparently the dad though didn't speak one word to them the entire time they worked there. Instead, his wife would give the orders to them, but typically only through writing. So she would write the orders to them instead of telling them. So it's kind of
because they were that against speaking to them.
I don't know. I don't know if it was
that's a lot of shame.
I don't know if it was that or if it was she would leave them notes of what to do. I don't know what it was, but apparently they didn't really speak to them. They only left them written instructions.
Perfect.
So the sisters were treated pretty well. They were given plenty of food, a heated room, and a meager salary of about $2,000 a year in contemporary currency. So
in today's world.
In today's world, it was $2,000 a year.
It sounds like LA.
So basically, I get it. As someone who was an unpaid intern for 3 years, I'm
yes.
$2,000?
Yeah. I'm where do I sign?
Oh my God, I'll do anything.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Not to belittle people who make meager salaries. Okay, so blah, 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 blah. So the other thing that's interesting is the mother. So the mother became aware that the sisters were sending all of their wages to their mother, that horrible lady who sent them off to the orphanage.
Right.
She insisted that they stop doing so and keep their earnings for themselves.
Right.
And took it upon herself to actually tell their mother that they were no longer going to be sending their wages to her. So that was kind of a very affectionate thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And after that, the sisters began calling this woman Mama, as in their own mother.
Right.
And then amongst themselves though, and then they called their own mother that woman. So they completely shifted to this is our motherly figure. So the mother's treatment of the girls was not always very nice, though. So she had these really strict standards, and she would do the white glove test on furniture, where she would
that sucks.
check it. I mean, it sounds like something out of an old movie.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was one incident in which she, Leah had missed a scrap of paper on the floor while she was cleaning, and the mom of the family pinched her the entire time and made her get onto her knees and pick up the paper. And I guess Leah after that said to her sister she had better not try that again or I'll defend myself.
Ooh.
So fast forward February 2nd, 1933. Keep in mind they started working there in 1926.
Oh, God. Okay.
So this is 7 years later. Christine is 28, Leah's 21. The Lancelot women went out for the day, and they planned to meet with the father later that evening for dinner. Mm-hmm. So that meant the sisters were home alone all day.
Okay.
So one of Leah's errands that day was one of the irons that they used was broken. So she was supposed to take it to the electrician and have it repaired. So she went to the electrician, had it repaired, came back, and when she plugged it in, it blew a fuse. And so the electricity went out in the house. But Christine, her older sister, was like, you know what? Like, they're not coming home until late tonight. We'll fix it in the morning. Whatever.
Okay.
That's just a fun little side story. So that evening, Monsieur Lancelot was waiting. I'm so sorry to everybody. Was waiting for his wife and daughter at the restaurant for dinner, and they never showed up. He was like, I'm going to go home and see where they are. What's taking them so long? And when he got there, the doors to his house were locked and chained, so he couldn't get in. The entire house was dark. The power was out.
Perfect.
Except he saw one candle up in the servants' quarters.
Oh, my.
So he found 2 policemen to help him break in by climbing over a wall in the back garden. So the police go in with their flashlights. Again, the power's out. The house is still dark. They're walking around with their flashlights. And they find an eyeball on the staircase.
Shut up!
Leading to the second floor.
Oh, my God.
On the second floor landing, they find both of the Lancelot women.
Uh-huh.
Both missing their eyeballs.
All 4 of them?
All 4 eyeballs.
Where are the other 3?
Just out of their bodies.
They rolling around?
Mm-hmm, they found one on the stairs, and then the rest were just...
Oh, my God.
Out of their bodies.
Oh, my God.
And both beaten beyond recognition.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. The mother's eyes were found in the folds of the scarf around her neck.
No way!
So the police were like, what the fuck? And they...
Us as cops, by the way.
We'd be the worst cops.
I'd be like, holy crap, man!
Oh, shit, where's the other eyeball? Oh, my God, we'd be the worst.
We'd find every eyeball on its own and be like, and that's why we drink. And that's why we drink.
I would bring a flask. There is
100%.
No question.
wonder some cops are, like, always carrying a flask on them. I don't blame you. What if you find an eyeball on the stairs?
If I found an eyeball on the stairs...
And then you try to move the body, and then there's eyeballs falling out on him.
Of her scarf?
Oh, my God.
I would never recover.
I would never be able to buy another scarf. I'd be like, no.
Listen, my scarf purchasing would be ruined for life. It would screw up my fashion sense forever.
Imagine if you are a scarf person, though. Anyway, let's get into it.
Imagine if one of these male policemen in the 1900s was a scarf person. His life must be so hard now. So let's get back to the woman whose eyeballs were out of her body.
Okay.
Anyway, so the police continued upstairs to the servants' quarters, which were locked from the inside, with a candle still burning inside the room. They couldn't get anyone to answer the door. So they had to force the door open, and they found the 2 sisters lying calmly in bed next to one another with a bloody hammer on the nightstand.
Shut the fuck up.
So they were like, whoa, we thought you were also going to be murdered by a psycho killer.
Yeah, we for sure expected the worst, and your eyes not in your face.
And you're just lying there in bed together. So they were like, what the fuck is going on? And they were like, oh, we killed them.
Oh.
And they confessed to the murder.
At least they're blunt about it.
They were very blunt, and they described the entire scene.
I want to know every detail.
In gruesome detail.
I want to know every detail.
So here's the story. Sometime between 5:30 and 7 o'clock that night, Madame and Mademoiselle Lancelot returned home unexpectedly. So remember how they weren't supposed to come home after their shopping trip. Supposedly, Christine met them at the door and told them the power had gone out because of the fuse busting, and that the iron was broken again. According to Christine, upon hearing this news, Madame Lancelot flew into a rage. Ostensibly in self-defense, Christine grabbed a pewter jug and bashed her mistress over the head with it.
Her mistress?
That's what they call it.
Because a mistress these days is the girl she's cheating on her wife with.
I think when they say mistress, they mean like her master.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, like master and mistress.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Bashed basically.
That would have been much juicier, by the way.
Maman.
Maman. Aww.
Maman over the head with it.
Okay.
And then the daughter, Genevieve, I think was her name, Genevieve, came to the aid of her mother, obviously, and was like trying to fight off Christine, who yelled, quote, "I'm going to massacre them."
Holy shit.
So Leah was in the other room. She heard the commotion and came running in. and Christine yelled at her to, quote, smash her head into the ground and tear her eyes out.
Oh my, and she listened.
So Leah smashed her head down into the ground and plucked her eyeballs.
With her hands?
With her hands out of her head. They both pulled out both of the women's eyeballs.
Kind of impressive. Like,
how do you do that?
Fucked up, but kind of impressive.
Which is what they said on My Favorite Murder. They were like, how does one pull out 2 eyeballs without...
I mean, I don't have fingernails, but like,
right, like
even with them, like, you have to have like some thick, long-ass acrylics if you're even pretending.
And you know they were working women. Like, they didn't have like fucking talons.
They
like,
probably had like some calloused man hands.
Totally.
Which means they were dull ass fingers. Like, how do you don't pop them out like pimples?
And it's not like they're just casually pulling out people's eyeballs on the reg. It's like they just like were like, okay.
I guess realistically you could do it if you didn't care about hurting them when you poke them in the eyes. You just have to kind of get around it and scoop it out.
Yeah.
But holy crap. Like,
but to do 2 of them too, like while the person's alive, you know?
While they're alive.
They're totally alive. So anyway.
Holy crap.
So Leah did as she's told, pulled out both of the... Okay, so she pulled out the one woman's eyes. Her sister Christine pulled out the other woman's eyes. Then, while the 2 women were still alive, but without eyeballs...
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, everybody, who... If you're, like, super... this is horrible.
No one else knows what's happening right now, so, like, I'm just going to paint a picture, but my eyes are closed and my hands are covering my face.
100%.
I'm just rubbing my eyeballs, so thankful I have them.
Em's in a lot of pain, and if you are, please just... I understand if you stop listening, but it is...
The empath in me can just, like, feel my eyeballs falling out.
That's what I was saying. My face hurts from it.
Yeah.
So, okay. I know. Okay.
Okay.
Breathe. Okay. So...
I'm ready.
Then, while they were still alive, they were like, we need to get murder weapons. So they left them there.
Honestly, if someone plucked my eyes out, I'd be like, give me the weapon, I'll do it my fucking self.
Kill me.
I'd be like, at this point, just get it.
Kill me. 100%. So, Christine was like, let's murder them. So they found the pewter pot that they had hit the mother with first, and then they found a hammer. And what they did was they traded off the weapons. So they would and they told this whole story. Like, this was their recollection of it. They told
at least they're proud of it.
A full, just dramatized story of what happened. So they would pass off the hammer and the pot together, and just beat the women.
Trade them back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm tired of beating her with the pot.
My turn.
Yeah,
basically. And then when the women were dead, Christine was like, okay, now how about we go about preparing the bodies, quote, as one would rabbits for cooking. So apparently Christine had this 1901 cookbook that she used, which included a recipe to cook rabbits.
Okay.
And she was like, hey, let's do that.
Let's do that. Let's just toss this together and see what happens.
Lord help us. So they lifted the dead women's skirts over their heads, took knives and
skinned them?
No, but chiseled through their buttocks and thighs with the knives.
What the fuck? And then just haphazardly just carved out chunks of meat.
Yeah, just violently slashing at them.
So they're not even doing it
No, but this part's fucked up. Listen, plug your ears if you're sensitive.
Well, I have headphones over my ears right now, so I can't cover
You don't
them.
count. You signed on for this when we started this podcast, but if you have children, do not let them listen.
Okay, fine.
Then it turns out the daughter, Genevieve, was on her period. So
oh my God.
Took the blood from her and put it all over her mother as if
oh my God.
basting her.
Oh my God.
Like a turkey.
Oh my God.
Or whatever, like a rabbit.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. And just started, and so they put their skirts up and tried to pretend they were rabbits for cooking. I mean, it is.
So they're insane people, right?
Literally they're so fucked up. They're
clinically.
Mm-hmm. People still argue
help.
What the fuck was happening. Then they cleaned up the mess and got ready for bed. So, as I said, the sisters immediately confessed to the crime. Christine did all the talking, and Leah just nodded and agreed with her statements. They did not express remorse and claimed it was only self-defense. Christine put it as, quote, it was her or us.
So did they eat them, or they just covered them in each other's period blood and then left them alone?
Just that, and then...
so they didn't even really need the cookbook.
Oh, no.
They just like use it as a prop.
They didn't use the cookbook. They just found later, detectives like found a recipe.
Oh.
That Christine often used.
So I guess...
She didn't like use the cookbook as part of like the murder. She just said she was treating their bodies like a rabbit.
I guess if she was reporting this to the cops, then it has to be accurate. But my thought is like, maybe she just killed them and then covered them in their own blood. Period blood.
I mean, maybe, but it's still just as fucked up.
Also, period blood is so much worse for some reason than just like... I mean, no matter what, it's horrible that they're wiping her mother down with her own blood. But for some reason, period blood is just like so much more intimate. Like,
it is. It's like, it's very intimate.
I mean, it's pretty intimate to wipe your blood from anywhere on your mom. But when it's your period blood, it's like something that's supposed to be like...
something really twisted about that. Well, and then
socially, it's like something that's already like taboo to talk about. So can you imagine like wiping the taboo all over your mom?
In the early 1900s.
Ooh.
And part of it was that they put their skirts like over their head.
So like humiliating them.
Mm-hmm. And I think I'm remembering this correctly, but there was a whole thing about how when the police arrived, they like put the skirts back down because it was like indecent.
Well, at least they're respectful cops.
Yeah, but it like you totally fuck up a crime scene if you're like, don't show the vagina. It's like, well, their eyeballs are missing.
Well, it's not like DNA was hanging out around then anyway.
I mean, that's fair, but when they took like crime scene photos, they never showed that, and it's like, okay, but that's part of the murder, whatever.
Right.
I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's a vagina. Sorry, deal with it. That, you know, they pluck their eyeballs out. It's just as violent as pulling your skirt over your head.
Right, yeah.
Sorry. Anyway.
I'd rather see a vagina in a lot of scenarios.
Than
but
eye sockets? Yeah.
Especially compared to eye sockets.
100%. So, for obvious reasons, this became a sensationalized case. But the French public, weirdly enough, was like divided on the opinion of what
fuck the French.
I know. Of what the fate of the sisters should be. So some people were like, they need to be killed. And then others were like, listen, they were like in miserable working conditions, domestic laborers. And a lot of people who were actually sympathizers to them were like intellectual elite. So like Jean-Paul Sartre, Simone de Beauvoir, Jean Benet. Jean Benet Ramsey.
No, I mean, I get snapping if people take advantage of you for so long. I get that. But, like, throw an egg at their house.
I just feel like it's kind of a circle jerk of people being like, oh, but they were, like...
Right, yeah.
Oppressed, and it was a heroic act, and it's like, they fucking pulled these women's eyeballs out of their heads.
Yeah, you really have to hate... You don't just, like...
And they weren't doing it in, like, an act of, like, we need it. Like, they never said, oh, we were oppressed. They just, like, did it and were like, oh.
Let's go to sleep.
We're murderers now.
Yeah.
So, throughout the trial, Christine behaved demurely. She didn't make eye contact. Leah stared ahead vacantly the entire time, in shock. While on the stand, the only concern they seemed to have was to be protecting each other. Their lawyers tried to plead insanity, but both were determined to be of sound mind, and both were convicted of the crime. So Christine was condemned to death by guillotine on the 30th of September 1933. Mm-hmm. She, like, fell to her knees when she received this information.
Wow.
Which is like, why are you surprised? But okay.
Yeah.
The court was more compassionate toward the younger sister, Leah, who was sort of judged to be under the power of Christine, her older sister, and she was sentenced to 10 years of hard labor.
Well, she'd already done 10 years of hard labor.
Exactly.
So she's just going to gouge more eyeballs out.
She's like, oh, just more of my regular life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so keep living? Got it.
Fine. So while Christine was in the holding cell, she grew more and more mentally unstable. She had these violent fits and hallucinations, depressions. She would refuse to eat or drink and would just beg to see her sister. Mm-hmm. At one point in 1933, she attempted to tear her own eyeballs out. What? So she was confined to a straitjacket. And at one point, one of her episodes was so bad that the warden relented and was like, okay, you can see Leah. And at their reunion, Christine reportedly behaved in very sexually inappropriate ways toward her younger sister.
Ooh.
Kept trying to unbutton her clothes and kept saying, say yes, please say yes.
What?
So, That's a whole nother aspect that was added at that point, that perhaps they were having an incestuous relationship.
Yikes.
So in January of 1934, the president of France issued a stay of execution for Christine. And she was resentenced to a life term of hard labor. But after a few years, she was transferred to an insane asylum in Rennes.
Probably a good move.
Probably smart. She was there only a few months before she perished of cachexia.
The fuck is that?
That's apparently where you waste away due to self-imposed starvation. So she refused to eat or drink. She was 32 years old, really young. She refused to eat or drink. Her body just shut down.
You know, to rip the eyes out of someone's face, of someone that you didn't really hate compared to other people, like, that takes a lot of heart. It takes a lot of heart to do that, but it takes even more heart to starve yourself.
I feel it takes, like, no heart. Like, you just have to have, like...
but you have to want it. Like, you have to really want to starve yourself. Maybe I'm also just someone who likes food too much. But like, if someone even gave me $5 million and said, starve yourself, I'd be like, impossible, buddy. Like, I'm going to see food in 3 seconds and want to eat all of it.
Never. You could show me fucking gruel and I would eat it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't know. Listen, it's fucked up. She was 32 and she starved herself to death, which... That's the one way I can guarantee you I'm not gonna die. like you know how you have no idea how you're gonna die? That's for sure the one that I'm not. I know how I won't.
Like, that's not gonna get me.
But you know how it's impossible to drown yourself because your body will fight. Like, unless you weigh yourself down, your body will not drown itself.
Right.
I would imagine your body's the same way with food. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine that if there's food in front of you.
I feel like if you don't eat enough food, or if you don't eat any food before you die, you go crazy. Like, you start losing it. And I feel like if you're already like on that level of unstable, then by the time you hit that spot where everyone else is kind of losing it, you've already went overboard. Like,
you're like,
maybe you're like, oh yeah,
I'm committed. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like they were serving In-N-Out. Like, I'm sure it was just shitty food anyway. So
right.
All right. Well, anyway, she died. Sad.
Oh.
By Christine.
Not really sad.
Not really. So Leah actually was released from prison early, after only 8 years in 1941. And she went to live with her mother.
Oh, my God.
That crazy lady.
You know what? I bet she acted real nice to her, though, after she found out her daughter can gouge eyes out with her fucking hands. Like, if I ever thought I was going to be mean to my kid and then they do that garbage, I'll be like, you're actually a god to me now, and I'm not going to do anything bad to hurt you.
My other mom was mad that I broke the iron, so I pulled her eyeballs out.
Yeah, and I'd be like, oh, well, I guess I'm garbage now. I guess I'm just your welcome.
I bow down to you forever. But really.
You want a dog? Here's a whole patch of dogs.
Here's 10 geos just for you. Yeah, so she got a job as a hotel maid under an assumed name for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. She died at an undetermined death, or an undetermined year. So accounts vary as to when she died. Some sources report that she died in 1982, but others say as late as 2001. So crazy enough, like, who knows? She might have been alive 15 years ago.
Oh.
So as for, like, what the fuck was going on.
Uh-huh.
So Jacques Lacan, who's, like, a famous French psychoanalyst and psychiatrist, believed that the Papin sisters had folie à deux, which is, like, you know, shared psychosis, and also the name of a Fall Out Boy album.
Oh.
My favorite. Okay.
You were one of those, like, little emo punks growing up, weren't you?
Listen, have I not talked to you about Fall Out Boy before?
No.
Oh, man. I have Patrick Stump's phone number. No joke, I legitimately spent 11 hours finding Patrick Stump's cell phone number, and I got it, and then
How did you do that?
Listen,
you were born to be an investigator.
I know. And then I convinced the forwarding service that I was his aunt, because I knew his aunt's name. And then I got through to his voicemail. It was a whole thing.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
A lot, Em, a lot.
You should be in jail.
A lot. I just want to take this really quick moment to shout out to my best friend Renee. in Cleveland who is going to law school and also is amazing, but also she donates to our Patreon and she listened to every episode. And she and I had a disgusting Fall Out Boy obsession, and she was in love with Pete Wentz and I was in love with Patrick Stump, and we would sometimes just sit on the phone for 6 hours and just like cry about their music videos because we were psychopaths. And
what kind of person are you?
To everyone in high school who had to just like bear our existence, I'm sorry.
Did you look like you were straight out of Hot Topic?
I tried, in high school? But we went to Catholic school, so we weren't really good at it.
So you like wore eyeliner?
I wore eyeliner, and people were like, "Whoa!" And one time I bought Converse.
Were they like the pink ones that had the black tongues?
No. I wore gray ones with black tongues, and I had black ones where like Sharpied on the like.
You don't even understand me, Mom. This is who I am.
Mom,
this isn't a phase. This is just me. Deal with it or bounce.
Look at my Converse and you'll really get it. Okay. Like
I wore Converse to my senior prom, and my mom still won't let it go.
Listen, that's so cool. I wasn't cool enough because I was like too scared.
Okay, can you say it louder? So my mom, hey, now that we have so many listeners, and some of you are even in a secret Facebook group with my mother, can all of you say that there was nothing wrong with me wearing Converse to my senior prom?
Nothing wrong. I wore cheap-ass, shitty silver high heels. That's way worse. You would have been like the badass one at my school.
Did you ever finish your story? Did you?
No.
No!
Okay. I'm on the last paragraph, though.
Okay.
It's the end. That's why I think I derailed.
And cut.
So Jacques Lacan, who's a famous French psychoanalyst and psychiatrist, believed that the Papin sisters had suffered from folie à deux, which is the Fall Out Boy album.
Right, okay.
And also means shared madness or shared psychosis.
Okay.
Do you know about that whole thing?
About psychosis?
No, folie à deux.
What?
Folie à deux. It's like shared...
Not anymore, no.
It's like the shared madness of two, so it's like one person will like have this psychosis, and if they're really close with another person, they can sort of draw them into the same...
Yes.
It's really like fascinating.
Well, I've seen studies before where people... Like, it can stem from anyone that's super close. Like, if you and I... It's, like, basically just mirroring a behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, but it's also getting to know each other so well that you begin to feel each other's feelings.
Yeah.
And not, like, in an empath way, but in, like, if my best friend's sad, I'm sad. So it's like, if my best friend wants to kill them, we're so close and around each other all the time that you kind of lose your own sense of self. And
totally. Which is when Christine said... like pull out her eyeballs, and she was like, okay,
yeah, you know, I mean, become one.
Totally. And like part of some of the symptoms are actually really fascinating. Hearing voices, a sense of persecution, a capability for inciting violence in perceived self-defense against imagined threats. So they said it's either them or me. And the last one that I thought was really as well as this is not the last one, but as well as inappropriate expression of sexuality again. And there are a lot of incidents throughout their whole lifetime that indicate that they were sexually related. And then the other thing that I thought was so fascinating was that those afflicted with this paranoia will often focus on a mother figure as their persecutor.
Ooh.
Which is interesting because
that nails it.
Persecutor was like this mama that they like adopted as their mother, who wasn't their real mother, but like they focused their like crazed anger on her. And so what happens is one half of the pair will often dominate the other one. So like it would be Christine dominating Leah and being like, do this, and she would do it. And paranoid schizophrenia can be difficult to diagnose because, like, the paranoid person can appear really normal. So in court, they were like determined to be totally rational, sane, and then the insanity excuse did not work, or the insanity defense did not fly because they were able to just seem like so normal. So yeah, it just was really scary and sad, and that's it.
The end.
The end. Surprise.
Fin. As they say.
Fin.
Fini. All right. Well, that was...
Is that not the craziest shit ever? They just pulled their eyeballs out. She's like, pull her eyeballs out. And she goes, okay.
I mean, yeah, I'll never forget that part of this story.
She goes,
This will just always be known as the eyeball story.
When the guy goes... he has his flashlight, and he's like, there's an eyeball in the staircase. I'm like, this sounds like a bad horror movie.
Thank you guys for getting through this. I'm sorry again, future Christine, for having to edit this garbage.
I'm sorry also, future Christine. But
we really do try not to do this, and yet every time we meet, it just becomes a longer and longer podcast.
Man, we struggle.
We were so good at first.
We started so strong.
Okay, well, thank you guys. Until next time.
We love y'all so much.
You can find us where you've been finding us.
Like, literally, if you don't know where to find us now, it's not
Honestly,
our fault.
it's just rude.
It's just not our fault.
ATWWD podcast is our handle for everything.
Everything.
You can send us your stories for the next listeners episode, which comes out June 1st, which also happens to now be the deadline for you to donate on our Patreon page. If you would like a gift box from us and Gio, you can email us at andthat'swhywedrink@gmail.com, or you can find our Patreon at andthat'swhywedrink.com. Please keep tweeting and sending us pictures and information about yourselves because we like being involved with you.
It's so fun. We love it. We really do.
And
you guys are
happy 40,000 downloads as of right now.
We did it.
Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thanks to you all. We love you very much.
I'm signing off.
Okay, signing off too, because God, this is a struggle, and I have to go to work, and you have to go to work tomorrow.
And that's
why we drink.
God.
.com. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.